All right, I am all set us up for us to begin. So I'll say good afternoon to everyone. I am Mary Clark. I am now the General Manager at CIH Canada, or the Chartered Institute of Housing Canada. And I'm part of CHRA, who is now the Administrator of CIH Canada. So I'm going to take a little bit of time today, and I'm going to introduce you to CIH and its role in growing housing careers. Hopefully you can hear me clearly. If you have any questions during the presentation, you can type them into the Q&A box, or you can type them into the chat box as well. And I'll try to keep an eye on both of those and answer your questions as we go along. And we'll have lots of time at the end for you to ask me a few more questions as well. I have yet to meet anyone who actually dreamt or planned to work in social housing. People often end up here because you replied to a job ad, or you met somebody and they sort of told you of a job and pulled you in. So one of the first questions I would actually like to ask of you is, what were you doing before you were working in a job related to housing? So if you have an answer for me, I would love to see it in the chat box. It's always interesting to see how people came in. I actually started working in housing when I first came out of university, but I have been working in data for community social planning organizations for the last 10 years. Okay, so I've got one answer. I would love a few more before we keep going on. Okay, so I've got Canada Revenue Agency, urban planning, mental health, trades. Oh, look at this. This is great. Zoning department, yeah. Oh, commercial construction, that's great too. And I see habitat. So this is neat. This shows a good perspective, right? So some people are really sort of on the sort of outskirts of the housing sector and have sort of bring farther into social housing, for example, coming from construction. But then we have people, here we have somebody from medical data management, right? And that, I'm sure, is not unusual if you have conversations with your colleagues or people you sit maybe in a meeting with, or somebody you meet, or a customer that you're serving. A lot of people sort of end up here. So what we've noticed now is that social housing sector stands to actually lose a lot of the people who did end up in this career and have worked for decades on the job. They've done a lot of training on the job without the formal education side. And as they retire and we need to prepare the next generation of housing professionals, we don't want to lose all that expertise that's currently being held by the leadership in our sector. There are not a lot of education opportunities at post-secondary level for people who are in the housing sector. And there's a lack of sector-specific training of core competencies. And there's no reliable standard for gauging and recognizing the expertise of housing professionals. For those of you who have worked really hard and are passionate about your jobs, there just isn't a way to recognize all that you've done and to present yourselves in the sector as a knowledge leader. So CIH Canada comes to be and fills this role. So CIH Canada is a national professional body to provide accreditation for housing professionals. It raises the profile of housing as a career, and it provides a reliable standard of knowledge and skills. So the way we do that is with this really strong partnership with the CIH in the UK. We began CIH Canada in 2013, but the UK has been around for a really long time. In fact, they've been established for more than 100 years. They have over 22,000 members, and they have work in over 20 countries. So their main task is to develop and deliver training and education for people in the housing sector. And they accredit education programs at colleges, and they're nationally recognized by housing employers. So for in the UK, housing employers are actually looking for accreditation from CIH when they're hiring. CIH provides a set of standards for their education offers and provides a level of quality assurance that's trusted across the nation. So CIH Canada members have all the advantages of being a CIH UK member, and we can also participate in all the events and training offered by the UK. And the credentials then that we offer are internationally recognized because they're still being overseen by this UK body. So one of the questions we look at is, what are the top skills for being a leader in the housing sector? So people in social housing sector need core competencies like tenancy management, property management, and community development. But also, as the sector transforms, there is more emerging competencies becoming apparent. So people also are needing real estate development, asset management planning, development finance, financial planning, complex tenancy management, culturally adapted housing services, project management, leadership and governance skills. We saw somebody coming from the mental health sector. I'm sure those skills have transferred over into their job within housing. So CIH Canada has tried to respond to those needs and those emerging competencies that we really need in our sector. So the basic design of the program is that there's 2 designations that you can work towards. You can either become a certified housing professional, and this is really appropriate for people who are either new to the sector or people working on front lines and have an operational focus in their jobs. The other designation path is to become a chartered housing professional. And this is appropriate for people with years of experience in the sector and likely have a more strategic focus in their job. And they're often in positions of senior leadership or management. So the way our current designation works is that there's a set of courses that you can take to earn your designation in either the certified housing professional or as a chartered housing professional. So the current system has this set of 4 courses. You do not have to take all the courses and achieve your designation. You could also just come in and take 1 or 2 courses that were very applicable to your work. And I'll talk more about these courses at the end of our presentation today as well. The basic structure, it's all done online. All the courses are supported, but you sort of work away at them on your own pace. There's no exams. Each course has a written assignment that you have to put together. And so the coursework is meant to sort of walk you through all the different parts so that you're ready to respond to the assignment at the end. And as I noted, you could possibly just take 1 course. You do not need to complete the whole designation, but the courses are prepared as a whole. And so they do make a really good base for you as well. Just a few notes on entry requirements. If you're wondering, to do your designation, to enter the certified courses, you should have a post-secondary degree or a diploma. Entrance requirements are fairly flexible, and you can just present where you are in your work as well. You should have some experience working in the housing sector or even just a related field as well. For the chartered level courses, you can either have already completed the certified, so you can do a certified route and then keep going and do a chartered route. Or you can demonstrate that you've had expertise in the housing industry. And this is after, maybe if you have 5 to 7 years of experience, you might want to go straight into a chartered route. There's also a really interesting path to go if you are quite a lot of experience. Say you've been working in the sector for 10 to 15 years, and we know there are plenty of people in our sector who have been here for a long time and put a lot of hours and a lot of passion into their jobs. And they can actually come in and do what we call the experienced professional route. And so instead of going through the course setup, you can actually just go through an online program that you work through sort of on your own, and you achieve your chartered member designation. So you become a chartered member, you get your professional designation, but it's one big written assignment. And so there's an online setup for you to follow through to prepare you. You prepare one online course, one online assignment, sorry, and then you actually complete a professional interview with a small panel of people to showcase your knowledge and expertise, and you can achieve your designation that way. And good news on this front, we actually have a start date set for September 6th for anybody who would like to go through the experienced professional route starting in this fall. Overall, I just want to talk a little bit about the whole benefits of CIH because there's actually 3 levels. There's a lot of individual benefits. Your CIH membership is really about the individual person. So your accreditation and your professionalism that you get out of following through the program will stay with you. And so if you were to go on and work with another organization, you would still maintain those designation credentials. This provides you with professional development, but it also distinguishes a commitment to your profession. It tells any employer that you're committed to the housing sector, that you want to be here and you're putting in time to advance your career. There's wonderful organization benefits. You equip your staff with knowledge and skills. It also shows a commitment to staff development, providing time or financial support for people for education time. This can be done by also paying membership fees for employees, funding courses, and just supporting your staff to take on further education in housing. And the one that I really love to talk about is the overall benefits for our whole sector. So CIH benefits the whole sector by establishing a professional standard and identifying community housing as a career path. We want emerging professionals to see housing as a possible career choice, identifying and saying, this is actually a place I really want to work. This is a field I'm very interested in, and I can see having a whole career here. We also want people to find themselves who are working in housing, all of those people who fell in, which are probably many of you. We want you to recognize that this is a career. Where you've landed, there's a lot of potential to move around, learn new things, develop different skills, and really enhance the whole sector as well. And we also want our senior leadership to be identified and recognized for all the expertise that they've developed, for all those learning that they've done on the job over the many years they've worked. So this is my final slide for you, and then we can have a little bit more chat. For those of you who are joining today, you can get a little bit more insight into what's happening at CIH Canada right now. So for the last 10 or so years, we've offered these set of courses, as I showed you before, the model of 4 courses to get your designation. Some of those courses we need to do some updating to, and so that's happening right now. There's a new standard, a new curriculum that's coming out of the UK, and so we're actually looking at doing quite a update of the whole CIH program, which we're really excited about, and we think will be even more effective and useful for Canada. So that's what's happening right now, and you can feel free to ask me any questions about that in particular, and I will do my best to answer you and let me know, and I'll let you know where we stand. And then what we'll be doing is just providing news as we go along with this process and as we can open courses, and we'll do that through CIH News Blast, through our mailing list, as well through the CHRA as well. We'll be updating you on any activities coming out of CIH. If you want to be involved in CIH, for any of you who have already started your courses, and I know that there is a good few dozen people who are sort of partway through their designations, those courses are going to be open for people starting in September, I think, and they're going to be able to finish their courses that they've already started in order to get their designation, and we're going to work with you over the summer to get those timelines set up. You can become a member of the program. Your membership helps sort of contribute to this growing professional body in the sector. You can join our mailing list, and you can do that just by emailing me, and I'll put my email address up into the on the slides in a minute. And I'll put you on our mailing address to make sure you get all these updates as we go. And I know many of you are interested in when the courses open, and so I can get those registration dates out to you as soon as I have them. The other interesting opportunities to come forward for are, we actually have an available board position coming up. And so if you or somebody you work with is very dedicated to education in the housing sector, we would love to talk to you about joining our board. This is going to be a really interesting year for CIH Canada because we now, being administered by CHRA, have an opportunity to just be that much closer to the sector and closer to all the people who are working. And we are going to be updating the program for these new standards with the UK. So if you would like to join a board, please feel free to get in touch with me. We're also going to be setting up some committee work to be working on some of the courses and a few other items. So if you'd like to join a committee, you can also let me know. And I know we have a few people joining us today have already given me that intention, and that's fantastic. As the new person coming in, it's nice to see how much interest there is in this program, because I think together we're going to make this a really fantastic program going forward. So I hope you have some more questions for me that I will do my best to answer to you. But there's the website, chcanada.ca, and you can look through that. The current courses and the way the setup is there's described. You can see the breakdown of the courses. They will look a little bit different going forward, but for now, that gives you a good idea of what we're trying to do. And again, there's my email at CHRA, and you can just email me directly, and I would be happy to hear from you. Even if you just had any thoughts or ideas for the program, I would also love to hear about those. So maybe while I'm waiting to see if there's any questions, the other thing that I often hear about people is for people who are interested, who have fallen into housing, they do, like me, like education and courses and try to find them in other ways. So I've talked to a couple of people who have done project planning certificates or land use planning. So I'm interested if anybody attending today has done any kind of education program since arriving in housing to help them do better at their jobs. So can you type in the chat if you've done, what have you found for education? I know some of our partners too in BC and Ontario also do it. Okay, yeah, so somebody's done the IHM accreditation. Yeah, this is also a really interesting program. It's a great way to get some housing skills. That's the Institute of Housing Management. Real estate. HPMP is a great course as well, absolutely. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, doing a city planning primer. Oh, I'm so glad to hear another person saying HPMP was helpful. That's great. So we are working on, because we have this much closer relationship with CHRA right now, we are working on what the financial relationship will be. So what CHRA members will be able to get. There's an interesting relationship because CHRA members are usually organizations belong to CHRA, where your CIH membership is actually a personal membership. And so you don't become a member on behalf of your organization, you personally sign up. Although a lot of organizations will cover membership cost fees for their employees. So we did have a couple of questions about cost. The cost structure is, sorry, let me just see if I can open it up for you. I believe the cost for a single course is about $1,200. And to do your full course then would be about $4,800. There are some scholarships available. And so you can definitely, I think just if you email me directly, if you're looking for some financial help to do your courses, because the way the scholarships work is it kind of depends on where you're coming from and where I can fit you in. And so definitely we can try to find ways to help cover some of those fees as well. There's a question about a document that highlights benefits of organizations supporting the professional development of the staff. I don't know that I have a document about it, but I can look through and see if there's something more firmly established. And I can follow up with you and see if I can get something together for you if you think that would be helpful. Let me just make a note here, folks. The current price for all 4 courses, I believe, is $4,800. So $4,800. They're very similar to any professional development courses. They kind of fit right in the middle range. And in case you missed it, Ellen, depending on where you're coming from, there are a few opportunities for scholarships. And there's also ways to get organizations to cover some or all of the education, the course fees. Yes, there are annual membership fees, and it depends on your level of accreditation. So the base level membership fee is, I believe it's $225. And then once you become credited as a chartered member, the membership fee goes up to, it gets $495, I think. And we do have some people who pay that as a personal membership, and a lot of the time your employer would pay that for you. Yes, the information on the web is old. We're still trying to figure out our plan for this year because we know that the courses, what we're trying to do is sort of a bigger update. So we're not quite sure what we're going to have available for this year. So at the moment, the forms and brochures are from 2019. So that was the last time everything was kind of opened and ready to go. So they will be updated as soon as I have a timeline on when things can open again for you. I think it's really unfortunate. I think there's so much interest and everybody is keen to get going on their courses, but unfortunately we don't want to deliver courses that aren't really up to snuff. And so we do want to take a little bit of time here and make sure that you're getting really good quality courses because they're not cheap and they're really valuable. Sorry, I'm just going to look through and make sure I didn't miss any questions. While I have you all with me, I'm going to go back to this slide where we have so this is the current setup for the courses. And they are being a little bit more, they are being reorganized in the UK. So I suspect that will be reflected for our Canadian courses as well in the year to come. But right now, as they stand, this is sort of the setup for the courses. So I would love to know if you just take a look at those, which of those courses is really interesting to you? Because I know a number of you are ready to sign up now if we'd let you. So if you can type into the box for me. Or alternatively, if a course itself is not what you're interested in, is there something you're particularly looking to learn? Yeah, so Keith is ready to do asset management. Oh, we got 2 already for asset management. All right, and another question I have for you. This is what I like to do when I have a group of people. If you don't have questions for me, don't worry, because I'll have questions for you. My other question for you is, you're obviously interested in some education around housing. That's why you're here. Are you interested in courses, or are you more interested in the accreditation as a whole? Or is it both? Okay, so many people are interested in both. That's wonderful. Okay, another one for accreditation. Yeah, and one just for course. I'm not sure if everybody can see all the chat coming through. But yeah, we definitely do have people that come in and just take a simple course because they're looking to fill a very specific need in their work. All right, I'm going to go back to the end again. So you can all copy down my email address. As I mentioned, this is going to be a really interesting year at CIH. There is a lot of interest in making this a really useful program for everyone. And so if you have any specific comments for me, I would really love to hear them. Or if you want to chat more about it, I'm happy to set up a chance that we can just talk one-on-one. I've had a few calls with people who aren't quite sure how they fit. Do they do certified or chartered courses, and what makes sense for their job? And I'm also happy to have those discussions with you as well. The other thing I would mention, when I think about sort of the value to an organization, I think this was a really interesting thing to do with your colleagues. So if you had a few people at your work that you wanted to do the program alongside, I think that would actually add even more interest. And you could have a study group going along, and I could help facilitate that as well with your organization. And then we can also just chat a little bit more about any kind of funding plan we can get ready for you. So please let me know if you would like to talk more to about doing something more for your whole organization, or just sort of a group of you at your organization. Keith, we're still working on if there's going to be any discount, particularly for CHRA members, and what their access to the courses will look like. So we're definitely aware of that and hoping we can make something happen there. Well, I don't see any more questions coming through, and I've asked all my questions of you. So maybe I'll give it one more minute if anybody has any comments or questions for me. All right, well, thank you so much for your interest in CIH Canada. I know for some of you, it's really frustrating to not be able to get on and register and get going on your courses. But I promise you, I am working really hard to get a good plan and set up for you. And please feel free to just keep bugging me, email me. I don't mind at all, and I will do my best to stay on top of things and get in touch with you as soon as I can. And we will be sending out any major updates through those CIH list as well as CHRA. And so as long as you're getting those mailing lists, you will hear as soon as I know. Yes, definitely new and improved rollout. And remember, if you are interested in being more involved and want to join a committee or be part of the work, also please get in touch with me personally, and we'll see where it would be a good way for you to come in and be part of everything. All right, thank you, everybody. Enjoy your day.